Are you ready for the best Kansas City Chiefs insight? Welcome to Four Guys in a Bar podcast, sponsored by Chiefs Blitz and presented by Dave Purdy with Supreme Lending. For your mortgage solutions, call Dave today at 816-405-5831. That's 816-405-5831 because he's pretty good. Here's your Chiefs Blitz host, Nick Athan, with Lou Montagna, Andre Tillman, and Hense Todd.
Welcome back to the next edition of Four Guys in a Bar, presented by Chiefs Blitz. I am your host, Nick Athan, and alongside Mr. Hense Todd with Bow Tie Sports. You can check out his podcast every Saturday at 1 o'clock at Bow Tie Sports on YouTube. I highly suggest watching it. It is extremely entertaining. And also entertaining are the fact that we've got a couple of really great sponsors. And first and foremost, I want to talk about my good friend, Mr. Eric Haynes, with the Eric Haynes Group. If you're looking for a real estate advisor, if you're looking for somebody that you can trust, if you're looking for someone who's going to take your hand through the entire process of trying to buy. All right, are we there now? Lost a little sound.
Yeah, you back.
You're back. I have I didn't press nothing. Anyway, I want to talk again about my good friend. You can reach him at 816-729-3785. He's your trusted real estate advisor. He is my personal agent. He is Hense's personal agent. He has found us the house. Hense is still looking, and you want someone who can walk you through the entire process, tell you if you got a good value, tell you if you've got the right house for your family. Make sure you get through the inspections. There's a lot that goes on in closing a house these days, and you want to have someone who's going to get you from the house you love to putting the keys in your hand, and that's Eric Haynes. So give him a call at 816-729-3785.
And proud sponsor, Chief Who?
And proud sponsor of Chiefs Soon Did. And with that, I'm bringing in the other members of the group, the senior guy like me, Mr. Lou Montagna, and Coach Andre Tillman. Gentlemen, thanks for coming back. Thanks for doing the show. We certainly have a lot of fun doing our Four Guys at a Bar. Today will be a real Four Guys in a Bar because we're just going to talk about whatever we want to, which is just what you do if you're a sports fan. So
it's lying season, Nick.
It's lying season.
Lying season, roster shaping, talent evaluation, all that good stuff.
Yes, it is. It's to me, the off season after the Super Bowl and the week after the draft is the most fun, the most entertaining, because you're going to hear 1,000 different things. You're going to hear all these experts say the Chiefs want this guy or the Ravens want this guy. Or if the Bengals do this, they're going to win this. If the Chargers do this, they're going to dethrone the Chiefs. This is the best time of the year because they're all going to be wrong when it's all said and done because the Chiefs are going back to back Super Bowls. But that's 11 months down the road, and we have plenty of time to talk about that. But the offseason is here. The NFL Combines are next week. Mock drafts are already up. Projections of potential free agents are already out there. There's a whole bunch of guys that have been tied to the Chiefs. Eckler from the Chargers is one guy that we've heard quite a bit about. Mike Evans to the Chiefs. We've heard about, the L'Jarius Sneed might be going to, a team with a whole lot of money to spend. It's a lot of fun. This is the best part of the offseason for me. Like I said, I love it. I can't get enough of it. So much rumor, so much speculation. And when it's all said and done, I just want everybody to know who's following Chiefs Blitz. We're going to dissect it all. We're going to tell you what's true, what's not true, what's BS, or what's plausible. We may not break the news, but we'll certainly set the table in a manner in which you can be convinced that we're probably on the right track. So with that said, guys, welcome to the offseason.
We might be lying too.
What's going on? Who knows? We're all talking theories today, gentlemen. It's all theories, man. Before we get on to that, let's give a special birthday shout out that we missed yesterday. The founder and the son of the founder, Mr. Clark Hunt.
Yep.
I wish you the best happy birthday. You know what I mean? Bringing us all these beautiful trophies that we can display to all the Bengal fans and the Raider fans and everybody around the world that we are Super Bowl champs. Thanks to you, Clark Hunt. Happy birthday. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoy it, shining up more rings that you can show to all your friends on the golf course. So with that said, Nick, do you have any stories that you had about Clark Hunt? Because I know you did.
Yeah, I've been really lucky. My dad and Lamar Hunt were friends and worked together at the initial stages of the new Arrowhead. And, I got to know Clark quite a bit. My time at Warpaint Illustrated, I spent 13 years there. He's always been great to me. I will share an interesting story because there was a period of time where I reported something that I believed to be 100% true. The Chiefs denied it. And so I didn't have as much access one year as I had hoped. Worked everything out, came back the following year. This was the year I think that the new part of the new stadium the renovated stadium was being introduced to the media, and it was my first time at Arrowhead in entire off season. First person to come up to me was Clark Hunt, and he said, "Welcome back." It's just he's a good person. We had a conversation at the Derek Thomas Hall of Fame induction, and he had told me, this is before all these Super Bowls, before Mahomes. He just said, my biggest fear is I can't live up to my father and win another Super Bowl. And clearly he's done that. He's won 3. He's going to win his 4th in New Orleans next year. He has done an incredible job. He was the man who decided to hire Andy Reid. He was the guy that gave Mark Donovan, power to run the business side. And you want an owner that's involved but doesn't get in the way. And he spends money because to build a roster to win, 3 of the last 5 Super Bowls, you got to have money. You got to pay these guys. You got to pay the head coach. You got to pay the staff. The fact that the top coordinators on defense all got signed to 3-year extensions, that tells me a lot too. So
Nick,
he puts his money where his mouth is.
Each team gets a check for like $400 million.
You know what? They don't all spend it.
Just from TV.
They don't all spend it.
Oh, absolutely. There's
Bengals fans are going to find out. Really,
but okay, happy birthday, Clark. Whatever. Nick, you buried the lead. What was the story? What was the story that they thought you were lying, or maybe you weren't 100% accurate?
We had a disagreement. when who I thought was going to be the head coach before Todd Haley was hired. And I was told that it was going to be Mike Shanahan. And some things fell apart, and Todd Haley was going to be Pioli's choice, regardless of Shanahan's interest in his desire to coach Kansas City, because he had just been fired by the Denver Broncos. And Pat Bowlen, the owner, says, man, I know this is risky because I think he could end up in Kansas City with the Chiefs, who were looking for a coach at that time. But Scott Pioli, his father-in-law is Bill Parcells, and Bill Parcells wanted one of his disciples, and Todd Haley was one of his disciples. Now, Todd Haley was a disaster for a lot of reasons. And it finally came out that Mike Shanahan's camp had thrown it out there that indeed he thought he was going to be coaching the Chiefs. Some people in the organization were aware of his interest and others weren't. Bottom line is Scott Pioli messed it up. Took his guy, and within 2 weeks of the hire, he knew he had made a mistake, and he kept Haley on for a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was, before they ultimately canned him. And that's when Clark Hunt took over and said, I'm going to hire the guy I want. And even though Romeo Crennel had a 3-game stint, he hired Andy Reid, and the rest is history. So we could have gone from Mike Shanahan to Andy Reid, which would have been interesting. But if Mike Shanahan had come, I doubt we would have gotten Andy Reid, because I think Andy Reid would have been coaching elsewhere. So it all worked out in the end. So at the end of the day, I served my time, still had a good time covering the Chiefs from a distance. It actually gave me a new perspective, which I really thought, kind of made me a better writer after that, to kind of see things from afar instead of firsthand.
See, now
there's the story.
That's a good story.
So there you go.
There you go.
I'm trying to cover all bases here.
Lou will go into detail, man.
You kind of glossed over the fact that
I wasn't sure I wanted to talk about all that again, but it all worked out.
That's what Kareem's looking for. Come on, now.
Yeah,
man. Let's dive right into free agency, man. Let's dive right into it, man. What's up? Let's go ahead. Let's dive right into it, man.
But the biggest needs, but looking at this team now, looking at the Kansas City Chiefs, looking at the biggest need, everybody you're going to say wide receiver or this and that, but it's left tackle. Even though Donovan Smith, you know what I mean, he played well, he did this, but we need a left tackle to protect Mahomes, you know what I mean, because that Super Bowl, it was kind of looking like the Bucs in their Super Bowl at the beginning. But again, left tackle, and I say somebody that's going to back up Isaiah Pacheco. Then you get a receiver, you know, you can get a receiver in free agency or the draft. My guy, you get a receiver out the draft is going to be Brandon Thomas Jr. from LSU, 6'5", 237, same height, weight as Calvin Johnson, big, fast, physical, runs like a small receiver. I think that'd be a great pickup for the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you're going to fill that back void of the back end of the Kansas City Chiefs, you know, I say they'll get another running back. It's going to got to be Derrick Henry, you know. So I don't know.
I say mine's this real quick. Mike Evans is on my radar. I did some research on Mike Evans through all the receivers in the free agency, right? Michael Pittman and Mike Evans. Mike Evans is going to demand double teams, man. You get Mike Evans out there with Travis Kelce and these guys, man. And you get Rasheed Rice out there, man. You were talking about a go-to Super Bowl caliber offense all right front to back. And again, you still got a good decent offensive line. You can put whoever behind that offensive line, right? Mm-hmm. And be decent. But the thing is, the matchups, the mismatches. You get Mike Evans on that side right there, man. There's no way, man. Like the Chiefs are not going. They're gonna put so much fear into these defenses. It's gonna be crazy because you can't cover Mike Evans one-on-one. Remember, he's still 30. That's prime years for me. Still 30. You know, he'll become a decent possession receiver. Probably the best possession receiver, especially with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. He played at A&M. I mean, I think Patrick has an affinity towards those guys that played in Texas or from Texas or whatever. But I think first things first. I think the free agent, or not free agency, but the franchise tag window is now officially open.
Right.
So I guess that's going to be like the first step in free agency in terms of every team. I mean, you're looking at your own sheet. You're looking at the guys that you have. Who are you going to retain? You know, who are you going to let test the market? What guys have a market? What guys are role players for you and what you want to bring back? So I don't think it's any secret that the two guys that could get franchised is either L'Jarius or Chris Jones.
You franchise tag Nicole Harmon.
Now for Chris Jones, that's 32 million, and that's not spread out. No. That's one big charge. For L'Jarius Sneed at his position, it's a little over 18 million. So just looking at the math of it, right? These are you want to get Chris Jones through like a 3-year deal, spread it out, have voidable years, whatever the hell you have to do to manipulate the cap.
And here for 3 more years. He ate the parade. So
now the other piece is L'Jarius Sneed. If you do tag him, is that going to piss him off moving forward? He's probably not going to show up till the beginning of the season. And then next year, you're going to be in an awkward position with him negotiating. Other side of that is, hey, maybe we just want one more year out of him. Get Shamari Connor or one of these other guys or Joshua Williams or Jalen Watson ready to take over, that role, and we go. But I think, in terms of a question here, who would you say gets that tag, and why do you feel that way?
Well, I think this is what's going to. I think the Chiefs and Chris Jones are pretty narrowed in on a 3-year deal. I think Chris wants to play 2 more years. The 3rd year will be very, very back-ended. I think we're looking at a 3-year, $90 million deal with maybe 55 to 58 guaranteed. So kind of the number that he got this year. The Chiefs will be able to get out of the deal after 2 years. And I don't think the Katz brothers are negotiating this deal. I think Chris and Brett Veach are going to do what they did last year. So Chris doesn't say those comments at the rally if he doesn't intend to be here, and if he hadn't already had conversations with Brett Veach. Let's put that in the win column for the Chiefs. He's going to be signed. The cap number will be relatively low for him this year. The problem with L'Jarius Sneed is he's represented by the St. Louis group. They have 3 clients: L'Jarius Sneed, Jaquan McMillan from the Broncos, the corner and tight end, Donnell Partham from the Chargers. That's it. They've been in business as NFL agents since 2014. 3 clients. They have a big dog and L'Jarius Sneed. I wrote this in my column today at chiefsblitz.com that Sneed wants to get paid. He wants money. He's got his rings. He's going to go to the highest bidder. So if I'm Brett Veach and he doesn't want to pay him $100 million because that's what it's going to take, and it's probably going to take somewhere in the 75 to 80 million guaranteed to get him under contract, I think that money could be used elsewhere. I'd hate to lose him. He'd be crazy to go anywhere else, but he didn't care about rings anymore. You know, he's got a wife, he's got a new baby. You know, he wants to take care of his family now. This is his one shot to cash in, and I do not blame him. Tyreek Hill did the same thing. Right. So if I'm Brett Veach in regards to these 2 guys, I tag him and I get the best trade I possibly can. Hopefully get a 1 and a 3 and maybe a 2 the following year. I don't think you're going to get a Jalen Ramsey thing, even though I don't think a team's going to be dumb enough to part with 2 first-round picks for him. I would be surprised, but
Cardinals will.
What's that?
I said Arizona probably will. They got the money.
Listen. No, what, boy, that wasn't a shot. I apologize. That wasn't a shot. My Cardinals.
I'm
just saying my Cardinals. You're right.
I'm saying they got the money. You're right. I'm naming off teams that got the money to do it. The
Cardinals. Well, they have to have the draft compensation. They have to be willing to be risk takers.
That's what I'm saying. The Cardinals have the draft capital.
If I'm a team like the Houston Texans, I'd be aggressive. But I think he'll go to an NFC team trade-wise. But
he probably won't go nowhere. They probably signed Chris Jones and tag him for the franchise tag and have him here next year to play.
I think, to me, honestly, I think Chris Jones won me over with the leadership, man. If y'all notice through the whole playoffs, he made the right play in each game. Certain pressure, a sack, a deflection. Chris Jones, to me, is the man. We pay Chris Jones. You can replace Snead what Kareem just said.
They go your Twitter comment.
I got you right here. We got Najee Johnson, right? Najee Johnson, to me, is high on the radar for Kansas. Right, and he's healthy. And I've seen this guy.
First off, we did talk about him last week, and I think he came in as a safety, and he is one of these chess piece guys. We don't know that he's got the same skill set or close to the same skill set.
But listen though, Luke, good point.
Luke, but he has that.
Staff. We do have the coaching for him.
Absolutely, they're developing these guys. But that's why I say I think Shamari Connor probably has a better chance of playing that role quicker because he did play last year and he's used to playing. The sign and trade thing, I mean, they just don't happen very often. And I don't know that you can trade a guy on the tag, and he would almost have to do what Saquon did last year. It was like they rescind the tag, sign him to, I think we talked about this before the show. Nick, you were talking about it, I think, with the wide receiver, Mike Evans, rescind the tag. He signs a new deal. Then they make a trade.
Correct.
So again, it's going to be a little dicey, but again, it's just that players hate the franchise tag, and just that could be one quick way to piss him off.
Well, it's going to him off one way or the other, again, because his motivation is different. Now, listen, Snead spends a lot of time in the community. You know, he was serving food the other day, and you know, he's at a local restaurant. You know, he loves being in Kansas City. He wants to be part of the Three-Peat. But I just don't think that's enough for him. You know, again, look at his upbringing. He's had a lot of family tragedy in his life, more than a lot of guys. And you know, he's held it together, and he's still proven to be, you know, I think the top 2 or 3 cornerbacks in the NFL.
And these guys already have 2 rings, right?
Yeah, and he's got 2 rings. So I mean, honestly,
he had nothing to prove.
He's got nothing to prove. He knows he's the best. The Chiefs know he's the best. The rest of the NFL doesn't know he's the best. And, you know, and if it just goes to show you that, you know, again, winning this Super Bowl Not any coaches were voted for any awards. None of their players were voted for basically any awards. And look, the trophies. And, for the and that tells me that these guys care about their team first. They know the money will come. They have enough money. They want to build something special. And for L'Jarius Sneed, he has to decide, do I want to be part of this greatness? Do I want to be part of potential, not an NFL dynasty, but to be part
team ever.
To be a part of the team that will be considered the greatest NFL team of all time if they three-peat. And he's sitting at home or he's in Cancun in January because he decided to take the money from the Redskins or the Commanders, the Dolphins, the Lions, the Rams, whomever it might be, the Raiders, the Chargers. You know what?
True.
And I don't know if he has that. I don't know if that's even important to him. And he doesn't talk much. You did that interview with Kay Adams, and she was like,
you talking about Sneed? Sneed talks. No, Sneed talk. He barks.
Very
No, I'm talking different. I'm not talking about
with
talking
a microphone in his
with
face.
a microphone.
I say with a microphone inside his helmet. He talks now. He talks now. I
on the field.
I heard his man get busy now. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, that's the question for me. Does he want?
Yeah.
Does he want a legacy? Does he want to be considered part of the greatest team of all time? Does he want to be known for? I was a part of that when it's all said and done, and I don't get a sense either way, to be honest with you.
Hard to put a dollar figure on that because, here he is at 26, 27 years old. This is his one chance.
Yeah, that's right.
At the biggest contract he's ever. I mean, he had the best season possible. I don't care what the all pros or anybody says. Anybody that was watching football this year sees him as the top 1 or 2 corner at worst.
That whole overall, right? When the Pro Football Focus, it didn't make sense.
In the league right now. So this is his time to strike while the iron is hot. So
and that's why
if the Chiefs come close, maybe that other stuff weighs into it, Nick. Right?
Could be could be
where now
could be
it's like, hey, it's only a few million here or there. I got this great relationship with the coaches, with the community. So,
real quick, Sam said exactly the disrespect our team gets is crazy. Now, Joe, what up, Joe? Joe says we have good enough corners to let him go. And Trahan says this. She says, I would be surprised if Sneed stays. So this is my take on it, real quick.
Hold on, I had a take, but I didn't get.
Go ahead, Hans.
Go ahead.
We'll give you the.
I was going to answer Luke's question. Luke said, "Which one you gonna?" That's what he was asking. Like, which one are you going to keep or when you going to let go? So the one I'm going to keep is, I got to keep Chris Jones because as you go back and look at the tapes,
absolutely.
If you go back and look at the tape, Chris Jones is a more impact player than L'Jarius Sneed. Even though L'Jarius Sneed had a good 1 year, I seen Chris Jones have multiple good years. Right? We seen Sneed had, before he had
been pretty good every year he's been here.
Yeah, he been pretty good. He ain't been Chris Jones. He ain't been Chris Jones.
Chris Jones good.
But that's what
I disagree. I think the last 2 years he has.
The age comes into it as well. But I think, Chris Jones is a more dominant player. We don't have a closer on the defense.
You don't let Chris
Jones.
Yes. You just
don't let go.
You said the Luke. You just said
We've got good pass rushers, but I think a lot of them obviously benefit from having 95 in there, swallowing up double teams, triple teams.
You see how they look with him and Charles Omenihu together? Charles
Omenihu was a big piece. That's a big piece in the D-line.
And we'll find out at a certain point, how good these edge rushers are. We just don't have anybody on the inside other than Chris Jones that rushes the passer like that. So maybe, and again, this is, we'll get into this more when we talk about the draft, but maybe that's the route they go. First round is a guy like Chris Jenkins or the kid from Missouri, in the first round, to be an inside rusher. So anyway, Chris Jones definitely is the more dominant player for this team.
Oh, absolutely. So Joe said this real quick. Real quick, Bo. Joe says,
Hey, let me
Joe,
get my comment.
give me a second minute. The people
Keeps
speaking.
cutting him off, man.
The people speaking now. I try to get it while it's hot, man. So
is this a first for Joe? Is this a first for Joe?
Yeah, it's a first for Joe. So we need a left tackle
Joe been here before.
and a good wide receiver.
He's been here before.
But thank y'all. I appreciate it. But man, the man's trying to answer the question, man. Like,
Go ahead.
We need a left tackle and a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, this is my reason why I'm keeping Chris Jones. As I get cut up, you got to keep Chris Jones over Snead, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody understand that because it's already been a writing on the wall for Snead, right? You draft, you move up in the first round, you get you jump over the Buffalo Bills, you trade with New England, you get Trick McDuffie from Washington. That was a writing on the wall that saying, hey, they're not gonna. This is your replacement, right? So you got McDuffie, you got Watson. Not everybody's saying Watson, but nobody talk about Joshua Williams. Joshua Williams have came on. He had become a great. Go look at his numbers on Pro Football Focus. His numbers is right there. So he came up. You know, he came
better.
on.
Well, we can't pick and choose on PFF which ones we're going to believe. Like the better numbers are right, but the guys that get bad numbers, then Pro Football Focus sucks. So we either have to say that these are legit.
Let me get my take. Everybody else got.
Hold on. Let him finish.
But this is my reason why. You got Joshua Williams. Everybody, I've been saying for the longest, if he had years to come and to prove something, he proved that he can play. And then McDuffie is playing lights out. You pay Chris Jones, you tag Snead, and you trade him. Because everybody gonna want a corner. Everybody gonna want that milestone on their defense to shut down the one side of the field. So you tag him. If you don't want to stay, then you trade him. You go up and try to go up in the first round and pick up some more picks and move up higher in the first round and get you move up there, trade him to the Cardinals, and you get Marvin Harrison Jr. just sitting there. Now you got somebody that's sitting there. You go to take Patrick Mahomes to the next level. You get that wide receiver and you get that left tackle in the back end on the draft. So,
well,
that's all I had to say.
Hard for me to believe that any team's going to trade a top 5 pick to be able to get
maybe the top 15, top 15.
But first off,
if Bowers is there at 14 or 15, I make the trade.
Here you go, your boy's Bowers. You love some Bowers, man. That's your guy there, Bowers.
At all costs.
We got family in the comments, man. Got to give the kid a shout out.
Oh, my boy. Yeah, my son.
Oh,
Paul.
yeah. Okay, Cole. Yeah, I figured I wasn't tripping. I said, all right, bet. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead and do the honors.
He says, I trust Spags to implement a quality pass rush without Jones. Not bad logic. Sign Snead if possible and retool the receiver room. Cut Tony Moore. I give MBS one more shot too. Draft a wide receiver early, one more pass rusher mid-round, and another wide receiver late. Let Veach go to work. I mean, all sound. I mean,
he is his father's son.
He is his father's son.
He is. I mean, he was on.
Come on.
With it, wasn't he? He was wasn't he?
We don't want to blitz every down. We need you got to get there with 4. Cole, come on now.
Hey, let's address the tackle. Let's address the tackle because right now New England has a good tackle and Dallas Cowboys have a good tackle, but he's up in age though. Smith, he's 33 years old. He's 33 now. He's still a solid tackle. And the Chiefs, he probably for cheap. He's 33 years old.
Very injury prone. Very injury prone.
Injury prone, but at the same time, it's better than what the Chiefs got on their own for their tackles. Because the Chiefs tackles to me is average.
Look, as Nick gave us this list, the key free agents of the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Chris Jones. You got Nicole Hardman. You got Mike Edwards. You got Drew Tranquillo. You got Diamond Smith, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Tommy Thompson, Nick Adegradek. You got a lot of receivers on Willie Gay.
It's a long list.
Willie Gay. Now looking at the list. Now looking at the list, guys.
We know how you feel about
Willie. Look at it. Come on.
That's the first person he knows. Willie Gay.
Look at this list, guys.
But he did go 10 names into the list, right?
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I wasn't gonna say that, Nick. What I'm saying is this: you looking at this one person I will keep One person I will keep on this list. I know you probably think I'm going to say Willie Gay. See, I was going to say Nico Harman.
You was.
Why? Why would I going to say Nico Harman? Is because you already traded for him. He was Tyreek Hill replacement. I say he got the speed. That's your speedy receiver. You keep him and you build with him. You build around him. He did come along in the playoffs. He came along in the back end after his thumb surgery, what happened with his thumb. I'm keeping him over MVS. I'm letting go. I'm letting MVS. I'll probably still keep Tony because the talent of Tony. Maybe
I'm with you there on McCall.
Yeah, but Tony didn't mess it up for himself. But
McCall's a negligible sign. That's going to be like a 1 year.
That's a 3 year. That's a $3 million plus.
Really small money. Yeah. So it's not like going to be a huge deal. So, and there's a bunch of guys like that. I mean, Mike Dana is going to be in the same situation. You're going to have, Tommy Townsend. Again, if it's a small number, they bring him back. Allegretti, another guy that's just perfect for the Chiefs. I don't know if he's got a huge market anywhere else, right? Derek Nottie, I think I already mentioned him. Dana. You've got some restricted free agents, so that's not like a huge deal. But like Prince Tega Winogo, again, restricted free agent. Is he going to have a market? Probably not. So they might bring him back on a small deal.
Mm-hmm.
Does McKinnon at 32 years old? I mean, at a certain point,
they'll wait till August. They'll wait till August.
Right. He's a vet. If he doesn't have to come to camp, he won't.
Yeah, he won't. The guy you're not mentioning.
Willie is the one, right? Is it?
I don't know. I just want to say I'm gonna get bashed for it.
Is it going to be an either? Is it going to be an either or? They put a deal on the table to Drew, Willie. Who takes it? Who says I'm out?
Drew is their. I can tell you right now, Drew is their preference.
Drew. That's my guy, Drew. That's
my guy. Do you guys feel they're each worth the same money? Like they could lay out the exact same contract to both guys.
I think Willie Gay's expectations in the market, he's going to be surprised. I think the Chiefs will offer Tranquil a 3-year deal, probably worth about $18 million in total value, with 12 to 14 guaranteed, 15, maybe even 15 of it guaranteed, plus incentives. I think he signs that in a heartbeat. I don't think Willie Gay has proven enough to me that.
What?
Hold on. I don't think he's proven enough to me that he thinks he can get top linebacker money. I don't think he's going to get 10, 12, $15 million a year, $13 million a year.
Linebacker on the team.
But that's what he wants. And I don't see it happening. Now, he did change his tune post Super Bowl about his desire to remain in Kansas City and how much the Super Bowl meant to him. And so those comments he made on Twitter, which were stupid, in my opinion, no offense, Willie, but you don't, before the playoffs, talk about this could be my last game at Arrowhead. You just don't do that.
Right.
So I think there's a chance he'll go to market. I don't think he's going to like what he has if the Chiefs can bring him back. But I think Drew Tranquil is the guy they can plug in. Leo Chanel played his ass off in the postseason. And he was one of my favorite draft picks from that class.
Death row. That's what I call it.
Just from that potential. And if he can learn under Joe Cullen, when he gets a chance to line outside and become a more efficient pass rusher, which he did in college, he was terrific at it. And if that's
he turns into one of the Watt brothers.
Yeah, he does.
That could be something.
Boy, that would be scary, wouldn't it? That would be scary.
And I think he has that kind of potential. So for me, you got Bolton, Tranquil, Chanel as your starting three. You develop BJ Thompson. I think he's got some game. You draft another linebacker. You sign another vet. I think they're in good shape there. I love Willie Gay. I love his speed. I love the things he brings to the defense. But Drew Tranquil is a lot more consistent defensively than Willie Gay is. And I think under Spags, they need that count on production. And I think Tranquil's a guy you cannot let go.
Yeah.
To me, behind Chris Jones and Snead, is the top.
He's the heartbeat. Yeah, he is. He is behind
what he did when Bolton went out, I think pretty much sealed it for this team in terms of how they regard him. In terms of the linebacker market, unless you're like an elite like edge rusher, right, from the linebacker position, like a 3-4 guy, like a TJ Watt, you're not going to command a ton of cash. Willie's at his best when he can just run and chase guys down, right? He's gotten better in coverage, and he does blitz occasionally, but it's not like he's going to put up 10 sacks a year. So I don't know. I agree with you. I think they will let him go to market. And if he doesn't see what he likes, then there's a chance that they bring him back. But outside of that, now, unless, of course, that they don't offer a long-term deal to Drew and they just say they both go to the market, then maybe the appeal for Willie becomes a little bit greater. We don't know. We'll see.
Drew's been on the other side of things with the Chargers.
Absolutely.
And he spent 4 years there.
He was a safety at Notre Dame. I mean, he's got speed. He can play multiple positions. He's one of the smartest guys you're gonna come across.
You keep those Notre Dame kids at all costs.
Very athletic.
Yeah, I mean, he was like I pictured him as a Harrison Smith when he was coming into the league. I mean, he was like the next one.
Right.
And then the Chargers were using him in different ways. I'm like, oh my God, this guy can play linebacker too. Nickel. That's a really good player.
Yep.
No, so before we get on the defensive side, the offensive side of the ball, we cover the defense. So let's get a shout out to one of our other sponsors. Nick, you ready?
All right, let's do it. That would be Mr. Dave Purdy with Supreme. If you're looking for a guy who's going to make sure that she finds the best mortgage solution for you and your family, it's Dave Purdy. You can reach Dave at 816-405-5831. He has helped me get a loan for our house. He's going to help Hense as well. You want someone who understands the market, understands interest rates, understands how interest rates could move, when to lock, when not to lock on a rate, making sure that he goes through all your financials. It doesn't matter if you're W-2 or 1099. You need someone who can get through all the crap, because it is not easy to finance a house, and there's a lot of process that you have to go through. And you want someone who's detail-oriented and someone who's going to make sure that everything is done properly. So give Dave a call at 816-405-5831. We love Dave because he is pretty good. That will never get old. I absolutely love it.
The way he said it,
Nick, man.
It would never get old. It would never get old.
It would never get old. I'm sorry. I'm gonna ring that bell till there's no bell left to ring. But
that's right.
Now we appreciate Eric, and we appreciate Dave very much personally, and also for going out on a limb and choosing to be our sponsor for the website, chiefsblitz.com, and of course our YouTube channel at chiefsblitz as well. So with that said, hey, free agency, combines are coming up. If you've never been to an NFL combine, the hotel lobby of the NFL Combine main center is like a reporter's dream. Man. Coaches, executives, general managers, assistant coaches, agents are everywhere. Hey, will you interview this guy? Will you interview this guy? Hey, will you give him some plugs? It is so much fun, and it is so entertaining. And Indianapolis does a tremendous job, even though I think they're going to be moving the combine at some point here shortly. But at the end of the day, this is where the agents and the general managers have those what if scenario conversations. Right. Hey, I know you're representing a wide receiver. He's kind of a wide receiver number one with another team. In generalities, what might it take to, maybe have a number that may or may not fit within our budget to see if he might be a good fit for our team. And this could go to any of your clients. And it's very general, but they get very specific. This is the cheating period, as I call it. The majority of, I would say 90% of the free agent signings that are made official in March, I think it was March 13th this year, are done at the combine, and there are promises made. And generally, for the most part, even Drew Rosenhaus, who's representing Tommy Townsend this year, even Drew Rosenhaus will keep his word. So this is where Brett Veach has to make all the magic work, and this is where he and Andy Reid and Spags and have to decide, who can they live without, who they think they can get, and they can put these things together. And then you got the Patrick Mahomes angle. Patrick is in communication with all these guys, and it's legal. There's no tampering. If player A, texts the player on player B and says, man, oh man, we'd love to see you in a Chiefs uniform. It's totally legal. It happens all the time. Head coaches can't do it, but players amongst themselves can. So this is critical. This is the most critical offseason I think Brett Veach is going to have, because they're chasing history, as we said at the beginning of the show. But the NFL Combine, this is where it all starts. And the work he does in the 6-7 days he's up there are going to determine pretty much what kind of team he's going to have, or what kind of players might be available to add to the Chiefs, who are going to be chasing the three-peat.
Yeah, so if I'm there and I'm Brett Veach, if I'm in his shoes right now, I'm hunting down to see what I can see about Brandon Thomas Jr. from LSU. I'm trying to see what I'm locking in on a combine field. I'm trying to see what kind of routes he can run. I'm going to set up that private meeting with Pat. I don't know how he ended up in Houston.
So what are you looking for, both times? What are you looking for? What are you looking for, both times? What you looking for?
What are you talking about?
Thomas? What are you looking for Thomas? What are you looking for specifically?
I think he's the best receiver coming out this draft, hands down. The best. You're gonna be you're gonna say it. You're gonna see it. I think he's gonna be the best. Marvin Harrison Jr. Everybody else, yeah, cool. But this guy have that potential to be the best wide receiver coming out of the draft. And I'm gonna say it on this show. I think he's gonna be the best wide receiver that comes out of this draft. He's gonna be your Puka Nuka. Everybody, whatever you want to call him, everybody gonna be talking about. Like, where did this guy?
There's the flame emoji is flying out of that square, right?
Come on, man. I said this about I said this when they drafted Sky Moore. I said, come on, guys, let's get George Pickens. And then they let him ride. I said, they said they want to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I said, no, go get Swift. Swift is there. They let them ride.
They're going to get another chance for Swift, DeAndre Swift here in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
But if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm at the combine. I'm locking in on to see what these receivers will do, because I'm not going to put Patrick Mahomes in that predicament that he went through last year. I'm not putting him in that same narrative. I know they came along and MBS this, yeah, but no, you show me who you are in the regular season. If it
they didn't make the playoffs. Patrick's numbers went to shit, and
he didn't win the Super Bowl.
They won the whole thing.
Yeah, off the defense, Luke. They didn't just win it. They didn't win the Super Bowl. Be honest with yourself. Be honest, right? I am. We won't be in the Super Bowl. We won't be in the Super Bowl if it weren't for the defense, right? Right or wrong?
Absolutely.
Right or right. So
it's a team sport. Everybody has to play, and that's why they're not going to mortgage themselves to go get a rookie receiver. They can find good receivers where they're at, and even further down.
That's what I'm saying. You got.
I like Brian Thomas a lot. Okay, I like Malik Neighbors a lot. I like Roma Dunze a lot. I like Marvin Harrison Jr. a lot. But all these guys are probably going to go in the top 15 picks. Now, Brian Thomas, I could see maybe he slides a little bit. But
I knew Nick was saying.
Nick likes the guy from Georgia.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this real quick. I'm gonna put my icing on the cake. These guys that y'all bringing up right under pressure in college football when the stage is big, what have they done?
Right.
That's what we're talking about. I get your guy, Brian Thomas. Like, I like Marvin Harrison. I see Marvin Harrison. We all see what he can do under the bright lights. What can these guys do under pressure?
They're not going to be there. That's what I'm saying. Like, them type of guys is not going to be there when the Chiefs pick. So that you got to be realistic.
That's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true.
Well, it's
30. Marvin Harrison.
Yeah. But
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if he slid, I think you'd see a team like Buffalo, if they had to move up a few spots to go get him if he was dropping. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the combine, this is one of the things that it is one part of the evaluation process, right? You can't get too high, too low. But some of the big things that you do find out is how does he put up under the pressure? Because they've got a schedule from like 6 a.m. till late at night. In the interview process, are they willing to compete? So are guys just going to go run a 40 and then go home? Or are they going to do wide receiver drills when,
Right,
hey,
right.
my draft spot is locked. Am I going to do this?
And a lot of guys
see.
don't. And that's the
So-
thing. A lot of guys don't do the
So
practice.
that's why I think through the interview process, when they get these guys, is again they rely on the field scouts to do a lot of that too.
And also you got that they getting the money too already.
They bring them in the room and Coach Reed and Clark Hunt or Brett Veach and all the other guys are sitting there and they're answering these questions. I think they learn a lot about the kid because again, you saw how long it took Rasheed to really learn what he needed to do, become Patrick friendly, learn the offense. So the guy's got to be pretty sharp too.
He's got to be willing to put
that goes
the time
into
in.
it. It's not just, hey, this guy put up a ton of numbers or he looks the part. There's a lot more that goes to it. You know, does he have that dog in him? Does he, you know, is he an OMDB guy? Is he an over my dead body? You know, when the chips are on the table and you need to have something, does he have that within his makeup to be the guy in that point?
That's Steve Smith. Steve Smith had the heart. He's a dog. Steve Smith.
So the combine, it's great to watch, but I think the behind the scenes stuff, the medicals, they get full physicals, every injury this person's ever had. You know, are they worried about it? You know, this, that. So it is a very important step. It's not everything, but it certainly goes a long way when especially if you're separating guys. If you got a bunch of guys in a cluster, say you got like 4 or 5 receivers the Chiefs think are going to be there, a lot of this stuff might separate and they say, okay, this guy kind of stood out among this group.
Yeah, and I think the thing to remember too is that in these initial meetings, they're only like 15 to 20 minutes. So there's a time period involved. And so what happens, 2 things happen. If let's say the Chiefs, like Jerry Rice's son, and they do 15 minutes with him, and they're like, okay, we're going to take this kid. They got a chance to bring in, I think, 20 or 25 guys into Kansas City pre-draft, either to take a look at someone they really like or to maybe throw the scent off because these are all public.
Yeah, 30. They get 30.
Yeah, 30. So like with something like that, they might not bring him into Kansas City because they love him that much. So a lot of evaluation goes in, and it's really hard. And that's where you have to depend on your scouts, your area scouts. You got to spend, your coaches have to look at film. Your position coaches are vital in these meetings because they're the ones who have to coach them up. And so when you get a situation like with the interview they had with Patrick Mahomes, the Mahomes comes to Kansas City and basically says, hey, if you want me, you better move in the top 10, because if not, I think, New Orleans is going to draft me, who were sitting at number 11. So, you don't normally get that kind of feedback or that want to from a player. But, like I said earlier, they have to evaluate so much in that 15 minutes. They have to look at the film. They have an idea who they want to talk to. Then they see them on the field, go through the drills and say, okay, they start identifying guys. Okay, this might be available in the second round. This might be available in the third round. The Chiefs only have 6 picks in this draft. Now, we don't know anything about the compensatory picks or how they're going to all unfold at this point. So their homework is a lot tougher than a team that's got 12 picks.
And where they sit at them picks? What picks do they have?
They have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and they don't think they have a 5, or they don't have a 6. They gave that to the Jets. So, and I'm not sure they have a 7, like last year. So I'll tell you that here in a second.
So while you're looking up that, looking at this draft, looking at this combine, like what position group that you really gonna have? What you think the team should be focusing on? I said wide receiver, but everybody said they bringing back all the same receivers. I don't know.
They're not bringing back. No, they're not bringing back the same receivers. I think they'll maybe again McColl on a cheap deal. I think they're going to stick. They're going to stick with Tony. MVS, we'll see. It depends on how the cap is with these other signings that they do. So you might see him cut later on in the process. They're not just going to outright cut him now, right? So at the combine, they're going to be looking at everything. You really can't, some things you can't, like the linemen. it's hard to really, just watching them in shorts do the drills and say this guy can play.
You got to be looking at them.
You got to see, right? So that's that part, or during their college tape. So the skill positions typically stand out because it's easy to see, and it's easy to see a guy, whether it's a running back doing catching drills or running routes. Same thing with the receivers. So they're going to be looking at everything. I mean, obviously quarterback isn't a big deal, but they might draft a developmental guy late in the draft. But if with the premium picks, if you would, absolutely, wide receiver, offensive tackle, defensive tackle, maybe corner, but they've got a pretty decent group to select from, but they'll probably bring in another one. So I would say, if you had to list the priorities, I think receiver, DT, OT.
Yeah, here's the Chiefs have a 1, 2, 3, and 4. They have a number 5 they got from Dallas in exchange for swapping out a pick last year. They have a conditional in round 7 from the Texans. That was for safety Lonnie Johnson. So it doesn't look like those conditions were met. So since he was cut shortly thereafter, he was acquired. So I'm not sure how strong that 7 remains. Actually, the Chiefs, I believe the Chiefs gave them the 7th and him. So I think they probably still retain that. So they have 6. That's not a lot to work with. If they're going to move up, they're going to have to give up a couple of those picks. If they want to make a splash, there's not a lot to work with. Again, if they tag Snead and they trade him, great. Maybe they make another trade. I mean, we don't know what Veach is going to do. We never know what Veach is going to do. Right. So there's a possibility. But at the end of the day, you're looking at 6 picks. They've got 1 in each of the first 5 rounds, and then no 6th. And where they gave up from McCole Hardman, who went to the Jets, and probably a late pick in the 7th round. So Veach has hit home runs in the later rounds, but maneuverability is going to be tough. That's why, he's had a good history in the last 3 years of just knocking out the draft and finding competent starters, especially on defense and offense. Still has not found a lot of the skill positions yet that he's kind of missed on, but he's got 3 Super Bowl titles in the last 5 years, so I don't give a shit.
Not bad. Not bad.
It's not bad.
He's doing okay.
He's rebuilt his team twice in the last 2 years and gone back-to-back.
We'll see what the direction they take in free agency will probably start leading you to what they'd be looking towards in the draft.
Yeah, obviously, if they secure some talent, then that's gonna do it. But I mean, again, I think they need another running back. I think they need another wide receiver. I think they need another offensive lineman.
So what back are you going for, Nick? What back are you going for then?
I'm going at I'm going after DeAndre Swift to sign in free agency, period, and just not take a chance in being fortunate to find a running back, round 2 or 3. I do that. I bring McKinnon back. If McKinnon wants to play another year, kudos to him because he made some unseen big plays. In that Super Bowl win. I haven't looked enough at the running backs. I'm with you. They're a dime a dozen. But Swift, to me, has some Jamal Charles in him. And we all know what Andy Reid did with Jamal Charles when he was in Kansas City. God, I wish Charles was part of some of these teams. It would just be thick.
That's my favorite running back, man.
One of mine, too. He and Priest Holmes and Lady Podolak, I've got.
Priest Holmes is my guy, man. Priest Holmes was the all around back, man.
That's why what Lou said. Free agency is really, really critical. It's really, really important. That's probably this year, unlike other years, is where they're going to have to add, 4 or 5 guys. And look what Veach did. I mean, he gets Mike Edwards on a 1-year deal. He brings Pennell back. He's still got some game left. I would certainly bring him back 1 more year. You look at Tranquil. You get guys who step up and, he knows how to find those 1-year guys that fit. And so that's why in week 2 or 3 of free agency, you see a Chiefs sign a lot of guys, because they get them on the cheap and they give them they say, here, you want a chance to ring? You want to get paid? Prove it. Show us what you can do. And I think he's been a master at the last 2 or 3 years in adding some vet pieces that make sense.
Yeah, you're not going to see them in that first wave. Usually, the guys that are signed right away.
This year you will. You'll see them in the first wave.
Really?
This year. No question about it.
Huh.
There'll be one or two first wave guys that they sign.
One or two.
I have zero doubt.
Who are those guys?
I don't know. I mean, I think one of them will be a wide receiver. I really believe that they're going to find somebody of all the wide receivers available. They're going to get that guy.
See, I don't know. I don't know that there's anybody there that's really worth that big money.
It's not but the wide receiver money is not going to be the Tyreek Hill money anymore.
Well, I think the franchise tag is like 21.6, I believe.
I don't think it's going to cost that much because I think the owners are going to keep the wide receiver money down.
Well, no, I mean it's projected that based on the cap.
I understand that. I'm just telling you. The collusion this year is going to continue to be on the wide receivers and the running backs.
Right, but the thing is, if the franchise tag is 21.6, agents are, they're going to use that kind of as a bogey, especially for the guys like somebody like T. Higgins, who's probably, I'm guessing he gets tagged at very least. If they don't sign him long term, which you got to believe they have to make big decisions because of Chase and whatever. Pittman, the Colts really don't have much else in terms of weapons.
Depth at wide receiver. No, they have nothing at wide receiver.
Right, so it would be hard for them to let him roll. So, Mike Evans a little bit older, but I'm sure he's looking at north of 15 million at very least.
A young 30, Lou. A young 30.
A young 30.
I think you're going to see an offensive weapon.
I got him at 31, coach.
Yeah. Offensive defensive weapon. I think you're going to see in the first couple of days of free agency. I think for Kansas City, I think they'll fill they'll fill defensive tackle, and I think they'll fill wide receiver, and then they'll just kind of see what the market bears for anything else. And again, if the salary cap is $250 million, which is what it's now projected to be, the Chiefs have about $28 million in cap space before restructuring, moving any of Patrick Mahomes' money around, extending Travis Kelce and Joe Thuney, whatever they decide to do with MVS. Even Justin Reed could get an extension. They could have upwards of 50, 60 million in cap space to really make a splash. And then I could see maybe Snead and Jones get signed, and they can still sign a couple of guys. Again, how badly do they want a three-peat? That's the question, Lou.
Yeah. I'm looking. Mara Lee really likes Mike Evans. It looks like.
Just no.
Yeah, she said, "Just say no."
No. Wow.
I love it.
But Mike Evans is a legitimate game changer, man. Like you get Mike Evans on the team, man.
It's been with Kelce,
top 5 receiver like 9 straight years.
With Kelce and Rice. Yeah, with Kelce and Rice. I mean, that's sick.
You get Mike Evans, Rice, and you trade that 32 pick for Kyle Pitts. I'm just saying.
Hey, listen. It looks like Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson is going to end up in Atlanta. That seems to be the rumor.
I think they trade for Justin Fields, but that's just me.
That's possible too.
Yeah.
So
if they do make that trade,
one of those 3 quarterbacks to make Pitts a better player, because Pitts has not played well since his lofty draft status.
Yeah, new coaching staff. That would be a tough. I don't think they make that deal. No, they're going to.
They'd have to be sure. They'd have to be sure that he doesn't fit, and they got to solve the quarterback problem first. And I don't know enough about Pitts, whether he's he works hard or just the fact that he's failed because of the crappy quarterback play and some horrific coaching. In the organization, it hasn't helped. But
yeah, because
I'm with you.
You got London, Pitts, and Bijan Robinson. You're not going to find guys like that in the draft, at least not with a 32nd pick. I love your idea, Hense. I just don't see Atlanta going for it.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe you trade straight up. You get a first round pick and Kyle Pitts, and you send Snead over there.
Could be. I probably make that. I would definitely I would do that trade.
All right. The Tilly train says, "Be good, Be good to get Troy Frank. It'll be good to get Troy Frank from Oregon.
He's another one. Yeah,
he's really good.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of receivers that you don't have. I don't think they have to trade up.
He's tall and thin and relatively fast. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Sam says this. I say Phil goes to ATL before Russell. I say this, man.
He's gonna suck when he gets there too. So
the Russell Wilson experience, you got to sign up for the whole thing, man.
Yeah,
they got a young team. I don't know they want to do that.
So basically, trying to say he won't blossom with the talent over there in Atlanta. Russell Wilson was not.
No, with that coaching staff, give me a break. Not a chance in hell. He's terrible. Wow. He's done. He's cooked. Listen.
Yeah, this is going to have a lot of Los Angeles Rams flavor to it. Zach Robinson, isn't he the offensive coordinator now?
Yeah.
Raheem Morris comes from, his last stop was in LA.
I like Raheem a lot, but that wouldn't have been my choice.
Speed over to LA Rams for Puka Nuka.
The Rams would be a viable trade partner with the Chiefs. For Snead. I could definitely see that.
Be honest, guys. Be honest. Nobody trading with the Chiefs. Everybody hates the Chiefs right about now. So I'll be surprised if we get one trade partner. I'll be surprised if we get any trade partner.
They don't need to trade. Draft and develop. Maybe sprinkle in a free here and there. They're fine.
Draft and develop.
Go.
Draft and develop.
Yeah. They'll find enough partners, I'm sure.
Before we close out, give a shout out to our sponsors one more time, Nick.
All right, let's definitely talk about our sponsors. First up, Mr. Eric Haynes. With the Eric Haynes Group, you can reach Eric at 816-729-3785. If you need a trusted real estate advisor who's going to walk you through finding a house to getting your keys, you want someone that you can lean on. He has done a great job for me. It's working with Hense as well, and I trust nobody more than I do Mr. Eric Haynes. Give him a call at 816-729-3785. And
Proud
if you got a house,
Chifu.
And Chifu. If you got a house, you need someone who can finance it, and that would be Mr. Dave Purdy. You can reach Dave at 816-405-5831. Dave is very similar to Eric. They're good guys. They're both Chiefs fans. Dave understands the market. He understands the volatility of interest rates that are going down. He understands property values. He understands what's a good house, what's not a good house, what's a good financing option, what's a bad financing option. You want someone who understands numbers. Life is all about the numbers. And nobody better with the numbers than Mr. Dave Purdy. Give him a call at 816-405-5831. We love Dave because he is pretty good.
Good.
All right, Drake.
All right, guys.
We got some more people coming in real quick. Now, we got Desmond Bailey. They're going to sign LaVisca, but I said his name is Schultz. Dirt cheap.
No.
Yep. Not. Dirt cheap. On a 1 year prove-it deal, and he's going
Big
to be
12 guy, Colorado.
Debo Samuels.
I forgot about Chenault. Now, if he's a free agent now, I would go get him. He was with the Jaguars, correct?
That's correct.
With the Jags, with the Panthers. He's been on a bunch of teams.
He's been on a bunch of teams. He never really found a true home.
All right. Here we go. Give a shout out to Kareem.
Wouldn't be worth a shot. He would be that 1 year, $3 million or something like that. Sure, give him a chance.
Yeah, put him and Harvin out there and let him compete.
I like that. All right, Joe. Give a shout out to Joe Cole, the youngin from Nick. All right,
the Tilly train.
Tilly, I got.
Don't forget him.
Absolutely. And Frank. Got shout out Frank
coming in late. Frank, where you been, man?
Frank was on board right away.
How's that Crown Royal?
That's that Crown Royal. Are you done celebrating, Frank? Or have you just gone through all the celebration possible in the last couple weeks? Now,
funny, man.
I did rewatch the Super Bowl last night. I couldn't help myself. I actually watched it in whole start to finish.
You did. So shout out to Sam
the whole thing.
and DB, Desmond Bailey. Man, all right, guys. But you watched the Super Bowl again, Nick?
I did. I watched it again last night. I wanted to watch the Glue Guys. I am so impressed with the job that Pennell did, McKinnon did, and Nick Allegretti. I'm watching the blocks after the injury, And I'm telling you, he threw his good arm around like he had 3 of them.
Nick's a former wrestler. If you guys remember from Chief Who, that dude he's a monster, man. They got to bring him back.
He played great. Trey Smith was just mauling out there. I got on Nick Bolton a lot because I thought he should have had that interception. And
it's the cast, Nick. The cast.
And it's the cast, and I had forgotten that he had the cast on because he's played.
Nick, did you see Pennell manhandle? Did you see Pennell manhandle Trent Williams? Did you see that?
I rewind that 3 times.
Take that boy off his feet.
3 times I rewind that one play. He just knocked him on his.
I was like,
hey, and then he makes the tackle.
Punters are people too. Tommy had one of his best games of his career, man. He was nails every
field goal and the field goal by Butker, that was the high snap.
Yeah,
he adjusts his foot and he just knocked the crap out of the ball between 2 49ers defenders, and literally it's about the size of my shoulders, which aren't very wide.
That's
the gap he had.
Hank Aaron line drive home runs. I mean, it 10 feet above the ground, but like 400 feet. God.
Do you think Tommy Thompson's coming back?
I don't know.
I do.
He looked like a mommy. He looked like a mommy guy. He got a guy that represents the other mommy wide receiver that went down there.
Drew Rosenhaus is his agent, and Drew does not have a lot of special teams players in the mix, and he changed agents in the summer. I think because he's the holder.
Those Florida roots, man.
He came to Kansas City. The only reason he signed as an unrestricted free agent was if he had the job, which means they had to cut Dustin Colquitt, friend of mine, and it was sad to see Dustin leave, but that was the only way they were able to sign him. And I think he's too valuable. I think he can throw the ball pretty good. He definitely can kick. And what's not noticed in that play where the Chiefs recovered the ball is he got run into. It should have been a 5-yard penalty. It wasn't an acting job. He got knocked.
Tommy's up for an Oscar on that one. I think.
No, he got hit. I think he got hit. He got hit flush. And he kept him in the game, and he's done that all year long with field positions. I mean, he's probably had 3 or 4 bad punts this year, and that's it. Special teams are huge. The Chiefs had a better special teams unit than San Francisco, and that's one of the reasons that helped them win. So at the end of the day, Tommy Townsend, Drew Tranquill, Chris Jones, Snead if they can afford it, those are the guys that you keep, and you just fill in the gaps with everything else. And
hey, notice who he didn't mention there, Heads?
Who did I mention?
Who didn't he mention?
Rasheed Rice.
Your favorite linebacker.
Willie Gay Jr. Willie Gay.
Hey, man, no love on this show, but we love Willie.
Just don't think Willie's going to get the 10, 12, $14 million a year.
Yeah, it's nothing personal.
No,
it really is business. We'd love to have them all back. I mean, you love this team, just the way they interact with each other, how they it's really fun to watch them play.
Yeah.
Before we close out, what y'all think about the Raiders coach? They trash. They trash the kids.
They're supposed to. They're supposed to, man. They're supposed.
They trashed them very hard. They said we got to take out number 15. It's very personal. And this and that. But Mr. 15 threw a party in your house when you went home.
I respect.
He tore down your house. He did beat the Chiefs, though. He did.
I respect Antonio Pierce, but they might be a little over their skis right now.
A lot of other 16 that beat the Chiefs.
He's the fourth. He's the 4th man in the AFC West lineage of head coaches. So he's only got one way to go, and that's up. Listen, I love Antonio. I don't think there's a chance in hell that he's going to make them into a winner. There's just too many things going on and out there with ownership in particular. Now, I will give the Raiders props. If I'm Clark Hunt, I build a training facility like the one that the Raiders have. From what I'm told, it's just absolutely incredible, from the locker room to the cafeteria to the space, to all the amenities that you would give a world champion. Somehow they go to the Raiders, who will never be a world champion.
They just built it for us. When we came in, had the Super Bowl, they built it for us. So that makes sense.
So hopefully when the Chiefs resolve their stadium issue, they get They get some upgrades to the training facility because I think they deserve. I think the players deserve better.
So the Niners are working out at some high school.
Yeah, no, they were at UNLV.
I know.
Same thing.
So Sam said, what do you guys think about the Mahomes rule the Raiders said they're going to do? The Raiders are going to do.
I don't know.
Listen, the Raiders have always played Patrick Mahomes tough. For the most part in Kansas City, the games have been relatively close. And in the Raider land, it's been close for a quarter or a half. But, who's going to be their quarterback next year?
Yeah.
Garoppolo's gone.
Good point.
This is why Harbaugh is going to have a hard time initially with the Chargers. You've got to change culture. You've got to change roster. You've got to be not afraid to lose games to eventually win games. You have to go through all of these things. And, is there anybody in the AFC that gets what I've been saying for years to beat the Chiefs? You build a team that the Chiefs have to defeat versus a team that you build to beat the Chiefs. That's why the Chiefs have been dominant and gone to 6 straight AFC title games and won 3 Super Bowls in that time frame because they are building a team.
Well, the other part of that, Nick, is I guess we could start a whole new show right now.
That's why I said we're going to save that for Friday.
The Chiefs have kind of morphed their team. So whatever strategy you have or how you're building your team,
right?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So at this point, until 15 retires or goes and plays baseball or whatever the hell he wants to do, good luck.
And again, it wasn't 15 best year, because that defense. That's what
the worst year he's had as a pro.
It was a pro, but that
statistically,
if they keep building and building and building, it's going to be a lot of teams to catch.
To me, this was his best season.
Yes. From a pure quarterback perspective,
absolutely.
From not having nothing, and building up his resume.
Well, let's not short sell the receiving core.
No, the receiving core. Listen, they won the Super Bowl because Rasheed Rice decided to man up and take on the responsibility.
Right, took the thumb out.
And MVS played his lights out in the postseason. So I think when MVS decided to work hard toward the end of the season, it paid dividends in the postseason. That's why I think they should keep him at least one more year.
So can this same wide receiver core? So can this same wide receiver core take them to the promised land this year?
No question they can, but I think they would be wise to add a Juju Smith-Schuster type, or I don't care if it's a true number one, because the way that the Chiefs play their receivers inside outside, I don't think it makes. No. The number one perspective is that's what fans want to say. Well, you got to have a true number one receiver.
Good point.
It doesn't matter. I mean, Rasheed Rice is their number one receiver. Now, technically, is he an outside guy? No, but he's the best receiver.
Like Lou been saying all year long, the open man is the number one man.
Can he catch? Can the open man catch? Can the open man catch?
Don't forget Remigio. This kid, I think, can be electric in this offense. He was the star of camp, and he was the star until he went down with injury against the Saints.
So he's going to be our new Justin Ross. Huh?
He is going to be the new Justin Ross that we're going to talk about all off.
Wait a second. What about Justin Ross? I mean, he's not going anywhere.
He's only getting NFL minimum this year, so they're certainly going to.
That's crazy. We said all this stuff, but we didn't say nothing about Justin.
This is the first time we talked about Justin Ross.
If Remigio is healthy, he goes into during camp will be like the top punt returner, perhaps even kick returner.
Yeah,
and then we'll see, how he
it's gonna be
how he progresses from there. So Richie James, that was a rental. You're welcome for the ring, but see ya.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a surprise trade, guys, and it's gonna be. I'll tell you what's gonna happen. What it's gonna be on Friday. So.
All right.
Wow, look at that. Look at that.
I bet you I can guess.
That was a great tease. That was a great tease.
It was. I bet it was.
I'll leave for y'all for Friday. All right, guys.
All right, guys. Appreciate everybody. Check us out at chiefsblitz.com. Please like the show. Subscribe on the channel. It's free at Chiefs Blitz on YouTube. Certainly looking forward to giving you all the offseason moves, all the offseason news, and our thoughts and predictions on what the Chiefs are going to do now that the offseason is officially here. NFL combines are next. Then free agency, then the draft. We'll have you covered. Everybody take care. Peace out.